Thank you, Abdul Jalil. He's wonderful, actually. When I came up here, he was sleeping out here outside the American Embassy in the cold, 24 hours for a week. And I think we're going to have to do it again and again until they hear us, until the Americans and the UK government hear us about all those who have suffered in the war of terror. I'm here today with a message from Walter Wolfgang. You may know the name. Walter Wolfgang came here last year. He was the one who opposed the Labour Party when they said they had not done any wrong in bombing and killing people in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he shouted nonsense, and for that he was bundled out of the conference and charged as a terrorist. He loved the attention because he is a wonderful person. He is a peace campaigner, a vice president of CND, and he himself and his family suffered in the Holocaust, and many of his family members went to the death camps. He campaigns for peace. He's now in his 90th year, campaigning still for peace in the world. And he sends us a message to this campaign today, and I have it here. My thoughts are with you as you gather together today to mark 9 years of the terrible injustice to Aafia Siddiqui and her children. Her abuse, torture and sham trial are almost beyond belief. We have a duty to tell the world what has happened to her and the role of the US in her cruel torture. Aafia should be freed now to the protection of her family and her surviving children. The report of her illness makes it all the more urgent that she is released immediately from the nightmare of her imprisonment. Please add my name to your list of supporters for your campaign for justice for Aafia Siddiqui. Walter Wolfgang, Vice President CND. I'd like to join Walter and all brothers and sisters here today to dedicate this day to Aafia Siddiqui. Aafia is not forgotten, and as long as she suffers imprisonment and torture and abuse, we should be here reminding the US government that they cannot get away with these crimes. We are here to tell them they should be made accountable for the torture, for the abuse of not only Aafia Siddiqui, for all those who are still imprisoned by the US, those in jails, those without names, those in dark sites, those still in Guantanamo, those who are still amongst the 2,000 in Bagram. Aafia requires justice. She should be released to her family. There should be amnesty. She has done no harm. She has done no wrong. She has been greatly wronged. She should be allowed her life. And we remember her today. She has no voice. We have a voice. We have to tell people about her terrible ordeal at the hands of a country who declare that they have, in their constitution and in their rights, they regard liberty and justice as a fundamental principles. How wrong they are and how much wrong they have done. We are here as well to remember Shaker Aamer. I represent the Shaker Aamer Campaign. It's a small campaign, but we're doing our best to raise people's awareness of Shaker Aamer, who's still in Guantanamo. After 10 long years, he has no charge. He will not be tried, but he suffers there, and the conditions he is in are worse than they ever were. He's in a very small cell, Again, like Aafia, he suffers solitary confinement in a cell that is so small he can hardly kneel to pray, in a cell that has only 3 items of furniture, a steel bed, a toilet, and 2 taps. So his suffering goes on. Like Aafia, the torment that he has endured has affected his health. His lawyers have said that Shaka is slowly dying in Guantanamo, and there is an urgent need for action to bring him home. The British government is responsible. The American government is responsible for his torture, for complicity in torture, in the same way as Aafia has been tortured. Shaka is tortured to this very day. His American lawyers say that he is still being tortured down there in Guantanamo, and every time they meet with him, there are marks on his face, on his body, of recent torture. He suffers many ailments. He suffers from the effects of hunger strike and force feeding. He suffers because he has never had his spirit broken. He still opposes the system, the injustices of the petty demands of the guards. They have to give back their plate after 20 minutes. If they infringe those sorts of declarations, they are tortured. Their cell is emptied. The guards come in and abuse them. There was once recently when he hung up his shirt on the wire, on the steel, to try and protect his head when he was sleeping. He didn't take his shirt down, and the guards came in and beat him up till he was unconscious and could not see his lawyer. That happened 2 years ago, and since then he continues to suffer abuse. So we are here today to remember Aafia Siddiqui, but also to remember Shaker Aamer. And I have to ask you to take away with you today from the stall some of the leaflets that we have for Shaker Aamer. These are leaflets for the e-petition. The e-petition was put on the government site by Shaker's father-in-law. He's so devastated by the fact that the government have done nothing, in fact, have failed completely to bring Shaker home, that in their desperation they've turned to the e-petitions. Now, there's a lot of e-petitions out there on sites. It's very easy to get people to sign up against the fuel duty, or to sign up for one of the against being taxed, or for child benefits to not be taken away. But for such an issue as Shaker Aamer, there are only very few of us that know the real facts. So it's quite hard to get signatures. So please, don't let us take these home. Take bundles with you when you leave today. Take them to your workplace, take them to your home. Anybody who has got an address in the UK can sign. So your children can sign if they have an email address, and most children seem to have them. So get them to sign up and try and increase those numbers on the site. We only have just over 4,000 at the moment. We need 100,000 signatures by May the 14th. It's a very short campaign, but a very urgent campaign. And the reason why we want those signatures is to put pressure on the government. They don't want our pressure. They don't want us to speak about Shaker Aamer, or about the US don't want us to speak about Aafia Siddiqui. They don't want their torture to be known. That's why they're silenced. That's why they're put where they cannot speak. So that is why we have to speak. We have to do what we can to tell people, if we've got an opportunity to press the government, let's take it. Please take the leaflets. Get everybody you know to sign. You did it for Baba Ahmed. You may have thought that nothing happened, but things are happening. They are talking about extradition. So that pressure is there. We want the MP to go to America and say, look, people in our country do not want Guantanamo. We want Guantanamo to close, as Obama promised. We want Shaker Aamer home with his wife and his 4 children. We want a just and peaceful world. I get very emotional, and I'm sorry, but it is very unfair and very wrong that we treat people in this way. So please, I know you've been working hard in all your different societies and all your groups, but we want a real push for this e-petition. If it means that we get Shaker home, it may be the one thing that will unblock the fact that there's still people in Guantanamo, still to this day suffering in Guantanamo and in Bagram. Guantanamo and Shaker and Aafia, we have to remember them and to do what we can. We have an opportunity just now with the e-petition for Shaker Aamer. Please take them and please do what you can. Thank you very much.